when John Jones was first competing, John Jones, he competed so freely because, it was just like it was just in his nature. Like he was just so creative and he fought different because of, he fought from that place of just creativity, that ignorance, that ignorant bliss. He couldn't be beat. He didn't believe he can be beat. And, he would fight that way and he would do some genius stuff in there just because of that, But then when you have those experiences where you've been caught in a fight or you've made some mistakes in there, then you do know better. But then those thoughts, it actually slows you down a bit too, because you're not fully reacting. You're thinking a hair, where before it was just kind of like a reaction.
Yeah, I talk about his opening fight, the opening sequence of his fight with Shogun. I mean, he's 23 years old. He's fighting for the world title, and he opens up with a flying knee.
Right?
Who the fuck does that?
That was that dumb and young. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way to say it. But at the same time, that blissful ignorance, that was his blueprint for so long. And he's turned it into a whole fighting style. Just that. Letting it off, hang out, letting it fly. And that's what worried me. That's why I thought in this fight with Dominick Reyes, it was going to be a closer fight, because of the fact that Dominick Reyes now had what John used to have, being that blissful ignorance. He didn't really know how much, how better John was, or didn't even care. He was just kind of like, I can win. You know what I'm saying? He was so confident in himself, almost in an ignorant, blissful way, but it worked out for him,
Well, what's interesting about that fight is, first of all, it's a great argument for 5-round championship fights, because for the first 3 rounds, Dominick Reyes was winning.
Yeah.
The question is whether he won the 3rd round. That's the one I believe that's up for grabs. Most people that I've talked to think John won the last 2 clearly. Most people that I talk to that are experts, most people, few disagree, believe that Dominick Reyes won the first 3. And the 3rd round is the one that seems to be, you could go, well, Dominick scored more, but it was close enough where you could see someone giving it to John, particularly since John was pressing the action. John was pushing forward. Maybe you give it to John, but they thought Dominick won it. But they said if there's a disputable round, it is that 3rd round.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
One fucking judge gave John 4 rounds to 1. That's insane.
Yeah,
this is the same judge that when I believe Luke Thomas was talking about this. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, because I'm not saying the judge's name because I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I believe it's the same judge that Trevin Giles, who fought James Krause. Giles and Krause was an amazing fight. Giles wound up winning the decision, but the first round, Krause had his back for 4 minutes, and the judge gave that round to Giles, which is insane. I mean, for 4 minutes, Krause had his back. The guy was fighting off chokes. Krause was real close to submitting him a couple times during those 4 minutes. And the same judge who gave 4 rounds to John Jones, gave that first round to Giles, where there was a dude on his back for 4 fucking minutes. Most of the round. And maybe even a fucking more egregious fight was Andre Ewell versus Jonathan Martinez. That fight was fucking crazy. That fight was crazy. That was the most crazy one. Martinez won that fight. Won that fight. Ewell broke his arm, I think. I'm not sure if it's a broken arm, but he had a significant injury to his right hand early in the fight. Somewhere in between either the first or the second round, not sure, but he really couldn't throw a right hand, and it was kind of hanging. You could kind of see it was hanging. And Martinez put in work. It was an amazing performance by him, and he got fucked over, man, real bad. It was bad decision-making. There was a bunch of bad fights. There was a bunch of bad decisions. It wasn't just one. There was like 4 or 5 on a card of, 12 fights? 11, 12 fights? I forget how many it was from the opening prelims. There was bad decisions. Just almost like people who don't know what they're seeing.
Yeah, and that's crazy too, especially when we reach the point that we have in mixed martial arts. I think that we've turned the corner in that, meaning the fact that there's so many, so much out there, so much knowledge out there in the sport and everything else like that. And if you're going to be judging it, you got to at least know when somebody is winning a round. I mean, there's aspects of John's game that was, scored some points. He was always moving forward with the action. But even when he was moving forward with the action, he wasn't terribly too offensive. He would come with his legs, but a lot of times he would allow Dominick to kind of be the first one to initiate it and then moving off, and sometimes it seemed like he was just kind of chasing him. But I think that it was that third round. That third round was that hard round to score. But it's I think that Dom had the edge, but if you're gonna beat the champ, then you gotta beat the champ. And I don't think he did that. Jon Jones impressed me so much with the shots that he was able to take, but more or less the mindset that Jon had. That mindset that Jon had in those championship rounds, to me, that showed that this guy is, he is a total package. And when it comes to fighting, just mentally speaking, he's somebody who I thought that was frustrated and working through his own frustration in the fight. Is difficult, and he didn't succumb to his own frustration, and he just kept that pressure going and took some big shots from a heavy hitter. But Dominick Reyes is a problem for anybody.
He's a problem. He's a real problem, especially now that he's got that rub. He touched greatness with Jon, who's the greatest ever. I feel like those last 2 rounds should count more. This is my personal opinion. But John Kavanaugh said something on his Twitter page. I believe it was John Kavanaugh, and it reflects exactly how I feel. That if this fight was going to go on another 5 rounds, it's pretty fucking clear to me who's going to win. This is to the death. Jon Jones is going to win that fight.
Yeah.
If it's to the death, there's no doubt about it in my mind that Jon Jones is eventually going to get him.
Yeah.
Those last 2 rounds, Dominick Reyes was hurting. You could see him looking and taking big deep breaths and trying to move, and his arms were labored, and Jon just kept pressing, kept kicking him, kept punching him, kept trying for the takedown. And that should mean more. It should mean more towards the end of the fight. At the end of the fight, if you win a decision, but you just got your ass kicked for the last 4 minutes, that seems crazy to me that you won the fight.
Yeah.
Because, I know this is a dumb way to think about it, but if we were in a schoolyard, right? We were in high school, and some dude and another dude fought. The dude who's getting the shit beat out of him at the end of the fight is the guy who lost.
Right.
When the teachers come and they pull you off that guy, that's who won.
That's who won a fight.
That's who won. And I know that you can't score a professional sport the way you look, but it is the rarest of rare professional sports because it's the sport of fighting.
Right.
And in fighting, when you're getting your ass kicked, you're supposed to lose. If you're getting your ass kicked, you lost.
Yeah.
And if you're kicking the guy's ass, you win. Sounds crazy, but at the end of that fight, Jon Jones was kicking Dominick Reyes' ass. He was chasing him down. Dominick was taking some big deep breaths. He was firing back. He fired back very well in the 4th round, but Jon absorbed. Jon has a fucking hell of a chin too.
Oh my god.
Hell of a chin.
Oh my gosh.
A hell of a chin. You can't. He's something special because of everything. It's not. He's something special because of his physical attributes. He's very tall and long. He's very strong. It's not just his skill. He's got great wrestling. He's got great striking. It is his mind too.
Yeah.
It's all those things. It's his ability to press forward. Its ability to break people. Its ability to stay on top of you. Have that champion's mindset, and to know that he's fought the majority of his career as a world champion, which is fucking
Unreal.
Crazy.
I know.
Almost a decade as the greatest in the world, chasing everybody that he's fought. Every single fighter that he's fought. You look at them, they're all guys like you, guys like Machida, world champions, Rampage, world champions, over and over and over again. You go through the list of them. Just all these killers. There's just killer after killer. Gustafsson, you just keep going through his entire career. DC twice. Stopped him in the 2nd fight. He's a fucking assassin.
And the most impressive thing about it for me is the fact that, on a physical scale, he's phenomenal. But just mentally speaking, to be able to go through everything that he's gone through, the ups and downs, and what that does to your mind.
Yes.
What that does to your mind, and just being able to put that to a side or be able to use it in order to go out and still perform as if like he hasn't missed a beat.
Yeah.
That is hard because it gets to the point, you get with anything in life, you get tired of the monotony of it. You get jaded by it. And he hasn't been jaded by it, and he still goes out there and performs like that. That's impressive.
I think he needed someone like Dominick to get that fear going too. I think he knew Dominick Reyes physically is a talented guy. He's a great athlete. He has tremendous footwork. His ability to change angles and then fire back is insane.
I know.
It's so good. You saw it in the OSP fight where he knocked him out with like a couple seconds to go. You see it in a lot. His Jared Cannonier fight, he could step back and fire uppercut, step back and fire that straight left. His ability to change direction is amazing, and I think a lot of that could be attributed to his football, baseball, like footwork, movement, his ability to explode, all that stuff that he did in other sports, I think directly translates to his ability to move really well inside the octagon. And then on top of it, he's gigantic. He's the same size as John, which is very unusual for John to face someone that's his height. And he's really fucking strong too.
That was the intangible that I think that John didn't expect. He didn't expect for him to be as strong as he was.
When he's able to get back up every time, like,
when he
shit.
Get up like he wasn't even on him. Like, dang.
His legs are fucking huge. You look at Reyes' legs.
Oh, huge.
Yeah,
huge.
I mean, he's got tremendous power. I mean, both with his punches, but also with his ability to move, man. He was throwing great kicks. He was chopping at John's legs. I mean, out of any fight in John's future, I want to see a rematch. I really want to see what Dominick Reyes looks like now with this rub, understanding how close he was, and then the amount of conditioning that he's going to have to put himself through to be able to do that again 5 rounds. And it's not like either guy got...
It was surprisingly to see their faces weren't beat up at all, and I'm like, these dudes were landing some shots on each other. It's amazing, but I think that this is exactly what John needed in that light heavyweight weight class, because it was getting kind of stagnant, and I think it needed some time to mature. But I think Dominick Reyes just said, yo, you better stay here for a little bit. And there's another guy, Corey Anderson.
Oh, yes.
Corey Anderson is somebody. Listen,
that's the dark horse. I've been telling everybody.
Listen, that's the dark horse.
The way he knocked out Johnny Walker.
Yes.
And he's angry.
He's angry.
He's angry.
And that's something you've never seen Corey.
Yes.
You've never seen that before.
After that fight, he was like letting everybody know, you fuckers been slipping.
Yeah.
You've been sleeping on me. You guys have been pretending that I don't exist. I'm out here beating the best in the world.
If he fights John Jones, I think that's when that John better be like, all right,
he better be so ready. Yeah, Corey's he doesn't have a chip. He's got logs on his shoulder.
I know.
Corey, he's angry.
He's pissed. He's pissed off.
After that Johnny Walker fight, he was so out of character. He's screaming and yelling and fucking, he was angry after he won. He knocked him out in the first round, and then he's mad.
The years of disrespect, though, and that's how he trained. Though he always trained with that mindset, like, oh, they don't respect me, and that's why he worked so hard.